The eulogies are beautiful. Hope they're just as nice from Myrna. How have things been in your town? Other than not getting as much rain as the rest of the middle of the U.S. has been getting?
But yeah, someone told me that it was still dry.
Oh, good. Good. You know, the weather in the last couple of summers have been absolutely sugar. It's been, either too much rain or not enough rain.
Have you read this guy?
Don't think so. That's it.
Hey, Danielle.
That's Dan? Dan? No. Okay.
So he's engaged to Ariel.
Ariel? Okay.
And Ariel's sister is also engaged with Dad.
Oh, I didn't know that. All I
It's
heard
only a
was
couple
about
of
Ariel.
weeks or something.
Okay, yeah. I used to enjoy watching her dance a Thai. Now I get to enjoy watching my grandson dance a Thai.
Oh, I see him.
Yeah.
He's the oldest one, isn't he?
No, second oldest.
Oh, a sister's the oldest.
Chloe's the oldest.
Yeah,
He's
I
2
knew
years
that.
older, or 14 months older. But he's got such a shape on him, and his red hair is so pretty. So I just love watching him
So
dance.
who had red hair in the family?
A little bit. Joanne's mother was a redhead, so you can
And my
attribute to both
dad's
sides.
father had a red beard, dark hair and a red beard.
That's the way I was when I grew my beard. I had a red beard too.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but it's faded to white now.
Did you see Lloyd?
No, yeah, it's all white.
White beard?
Yeah, he looks really good. He looks very, very good. I just wish that he had done more with his life, but you know, it is what it
Because
is.
he's very great, very.
Yeah. But that happens quite often to very great people. They don't exist well anymore.
I never thought about that.
Yeah,
You're very bright,
thank you.
and it worked well.
Well, I said it happens occasionally. I got very lucky. My parents imbued me with many good attributes.
I remember you as a baby when you were freezing.
Yes, similar, yes.
So we would come into the back of the house where you lived.
Yeah.
I don't know whose house it was.
Back on Alfred?
Oh, I don't know. I was just a little kid.
Okay. I think that's where it was. We lived on Alfred initially, and then we moved to Smithfield ultimately. And I have few memories of Smithfield, but I remember our house on Pierce Avenue much more because I was already 7 years old by then. So I remember that. But on Smithfield, what I remember the most were the gardens in the backyard.
And did your mom like flowers?
Oh, yeah.
Are you the
Plant all sorts of flowers.
Rachel?
And I absolutely love them. I can't remember the name of the variety, but they were so pretty.
Are you guys such a listener?
And tall. That's it. That's the word, the hollyhocks, yes. They were the best.
I didn't use it.
They attracted bees.
Oh no.
Sorry for that. What? What does that even mean? You're not an
The young lady who moved to Cherokee.
Listen, don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. You know who to root for. You're right.
And I really
And Dallas.
just
Nice.
You guys are enjoying it in LA? Because all your families.
Very nice.
well, no, and I folded it just no, but
Pretty young lady.
no, I just
Just like you.
Yes. Rock and Rain, Lou. Oh, it's just
We got here at 11.
3 months ago.
Yeah, but not a big deal. I went over to Tim Hortons and grabbed a coffee.
Hi, David.
How do you know?
I don't blame you.
David, good to see you.
Sheriff Fancy had it. So Kara hasn't had it. There she is.
National Officiating today.
So you can both wear your hats.
Hat like that, except mine is big.
Yeah. We
I
got
should have worn my hat. Instead of bottom and brown.
What's the same words? That's stories. I got stories. Okay. Hall bearers. You're on duty today. How you doing, man? Keeping well. Yeah. How about you? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. You behaving? Yeah. If I ask around about you, they're gonna say good things. Yeah, if I had more money, I would misbehave. Hall bearer. Okay, all right. So we need everybody here 6 of you.
We have all day.
All right, so just so you know, you're facing the same way as you come out. You're facing this way, and you're going to back up, and then you're going to go right down. I think they want to go down this way. Yeah. Yeah. That'll be okay.
It looks like
We're going to go backwards and then rotate.
That's what cousins do for each other.
Yeah. We have amazing technology where I just get in a tin can and then, okay. But honestly,
Yavo Ezri Esainael Ehari Me'ain Yavo Ezri Me'im Adonai Osei Shamayim va'aretz Ezri me'im Adonai Osei Shamayim va'aretz Ha'iten lamod raglecha Hayanum shomrecha Hine lo yanum velo ishan shomer Yisrael Adonai shomrecha Adonai tzilcha yad yeminecha Adonai shomrecha Adonai tzilcha yad yeminecha Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka ve'yareach balayla Adonai yishmorcha mikora Yishmor nafshecha Adonai yishmor tzedcha uvoecha me'ata ve'ad olam ישמור צאתך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם על מקומה תבוא ושלום. Our tradition is to begin with the chanting and now recitation of a psalm. This is Psalm 121, known in Hebrew as Shir Lama'alot, a song for ascending. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, from God, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. You see, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your protection, your guardian at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life. God guards your going and coming now and forever. Al Mekomah Tavo V'Shalom. May Myrna Raber go unto God in peace. Hatzur Tamim Paulo Kichol Racha Mishpat El Emunah Ve'enav El Tzadik V'Yashar Hu Tzadik Atadonai Lamidu Lachayot Asher B'Yadcha Pigadon Kol Ruchot Chalila Lecha Zichronenu Limchot Ve'yiyu Nainecha V'Rachamim Aleinu V'Kuchot Ki Lecha Adon HaRachamim Ve'Aslichot Adonai Natan V'Adonai Lakach Yishem Adonai Mevorach והוא רחום יחבר עבוד ולא ישחית, וירבה להשיב אפו ולירקו חמתו, וישוב העפר על הארץ שהיה, והרוח תשוב אל האלוהים אשר נתנה. The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns to God who gave it. May our beloved soul be bound up in the bond of life eternal, and may God send comfort to those who mourn and grant strength to those whose burden is sorrow. Amen. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you to those of you who cannot be with us here at the cemetery, at Shaarey Zedek Cemetery, but have joined us online. Thank you for tuning into our broadcast. You've joined your hearts together to provide comfort and strength to a grieving family. You've also come together to show the greatest mitzvah our tradition has to offer as we are here today, family, friends, and community, to honor Myrna Raber, Malka Bat Mordechai Ufega Bela, the daughter of Fanny Appel and Murray Golden, Zichronam Livracha, of blessed memory. We've come together to pay tribute to her life, to remember her and celebrate her, to show her the ultimate respect of accompanying her here to her final resting place, and we've come together to say goodbye. Myrna passed away Saturday morning, the 26th day in the Hebrew month of Iyar, at the age of 88, just under a month shy of her 89th birthday. She is survived by her family, who will be mentioned again, but we mention them now in the beginning of our service. Her children, Avis and her partner Rocky, Eileen and Earl. Her grandchildren, Mark and Samantha, Daniel and Diana, Jonathan, Benjamin and Jesse, Joshua, Rachel and Eric, Ariel and Danielle, Matthew and Rachel, Megan and Ariel, and Mika. Her great-grandsons, Ethan, Jacob, and Isaac, and her sister-in-law and brother-in-law, Carol and Arnold. Myrna was predeceased by her parents, Murray and Fanny, her sister Ruth, her beloved husband Monty, and her son-in-law Ari, all of blessed memory, Zichronam Livracha. This morning we will hear eulogies from Earl and from Matthew, who have both written words of tribute for their mother and their grandmother. I'm honored the family has asked me to officiate today. Thank you. I spent a lot of time with Myrna over the last many months since she became a resident at Simkin Center, where I'm the rabbi. Even more than that, She's known me my entire life. Her niece Adrienne Kettner is one of my dad's oldest friends, and our families have been intertwined for 60 years. Whenever there were family functions for the Lipnowskis, Myrna and Monty, of course, were always there. Not to mention countless simchas and events for the Lipson brothers, who grew up with my sister and me here in Winnipeg. My first and maybe lasting memory of Myrna from being a kid was that she had a presence. When she came into the room, she was there. She was not a short little baba like I had, like so many people have in their families. She was tall, she was grand. She carried herself with confidence, a woman of stature, a woman with presence. Even at Simkin, at the end of her life, when she was confined to a chair, or even before that at the Shaftesbury, when she was holding court in the dining room or the lobby, she maintained this presence. In fact, in spite of the terrible suffering she's had to endure over the last 4 years since Monty passed, and her own health ailments continued to mount, Myrna never lost that magical quality that made her stand out. Even through brutal bouts of dementia, she had moments of amazing clarity, sound advice, great memories from decades ago she could articulate perfectly. Even the day before she suffered a stroke last week, she was doling out top-shelf wisdom as only she could. Proof not even an illness can keep a good woman down. As one colleague at Simkin remarked on her passing, she was herself right to the end. Matthew and Earl will share so much more, as only they can, specifically about her role as a matriarch in the Raber family, a woman who exuded love in every facet of her being. All I would like to offer as a conclusion to my remarks and an introduction to theirs is to highlight one last thing. Myrna's Jewish name, Malka. She was named, no doubt, for a relative who had passed before her, as so many Jewish people of her time and since have been, a way to honor someone cherished in the family. But it's uncanny and truly fitting how often the names chosen for us become a part of our identity. Malka is Hebrew for queen. Majestic, regal, confident. These are the connotations of a Malka, a woman of stature, a woman of presence. But also, without question, the most fitting name for a woman who devoted everything to family, to her children and her grandchildren, even her great-grandchildren. The closeness they share all these years later, evident today in the days and weeks and months coming. The words that we are about to hear from them speak volumes about the royal legacy Myrna crafted throughout nearly 90 years of life. A legacy she leaves behind. May her memory be a blessing. Matthew, please.
Hi everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Matthew, and I'm one of Baba Myrna's 10 grandchildren. I know my dad is speaking after this, so I promise I'll keep this short, because I know he won't be able to. I wanted to just take a few minutes and share some of my favorite Baba stories so that you can all understand where she was from our perspective, but I know that Baba's love for her family and her friends was felt by everyone who knew her. Baba really was the matriarch of the Raber and Lipson and Block families. She was always there at every family event or milestone, big or small. For our family in Winnipeg, she was at every graduation, sports game, housewarming, dance recital, and birthday party. And the fact that my dad and siblings and I lived in Calgary also never stopped her from showing up. She would always come to Calgary for big moments in our lives, like graduations, and sometimes even just to visit. And even her 3 great-grandsons in Calgary have fond memories of Baba, who they would FaceTime and tell her stories about Zedek, who they knew as the man with the brown boots. This speaks volumes about her love for her family and Zedek, and the importance of surrounding herself with loving friends and family. Baba loved knowing exactly what was going on in all of her kids' and grandkids' lives. She always asked about my friends, knew each one of them by name, and would always stay up to date with each of their lives. She would ask, "How's your friend Daniel?" And I would say, "Baba, how do you even remember him? You haven't seen him in 15 years. But she always did. And I know she did the same for every single one of her 10 grandkids and 3 great-grandkids. And there was nothing Baba loved more than to brag about her children and grandkids. She always made it her mission to tell every single person we walked by, anyone she could get a hold of, just how lucky she was to have so many grandkids. In the last few years, since Zeda sadly passed away, and Baba was living at the Shaarey and Simpkin Center, whenever we would visit her, she would walk by every person, even if she didn't really know them, and with such pride say, "These are my beautiful grandkids, and these are the amazing things they're up to." She was truly so proud and fulfilled because her family meant the world to her. Her favorite saying was probably that there were just so many grandkids for her to even keep track of, even though she did. And that was the family that she created, that she was the matriarch. Baba's care for others extended beyond just her family, though. Baba had so many friends that she loved, and she loved to tell us about her friends. Last month, I was lucky to go to a Passover Seder at the Simpkin Center with Baba and my dad, and it was great, but Baba would not stop talking during the service. She had to point out every single person who walked by and tell me something about them. She clearly didn't master her whispering skills, and the people she was talking about would often hear what she was saying, but she didn't care. That's just who she was, and it was all from a place of love. And among many other things, Baba was probably best known by her grandkids for her baked goods. It was one of the ways she showed love. She made the best apple cake, the best commish, and every single time I came to Winnipeg or she came to Calgary, she always had a raisin loaf waiting for me and my sisters, and the cupboard stocked with jujubes. Every time, without asking. I miss not having the raisin loaf, but I'll always remember how these thoughtless acts just showed how important it is to care for family and put them first. Baba also loved to teach her grandkids and everyone lessons. She always would tell me and give me grief if my beard was too long, if my socks were dirty, if my shirt was wrinkled. She loved teaching me how to do laundry, to cook, but most of all, to teach me Yiddish. After Zeda passed away, I was lucky to spend a week or two living with Baba, and she loved teaching me her Yiddish phrases, and I tried to soak up everything. She would teach me how to ask for a glass of tea, un glas tee, how to say oi gewalt, Gott in Himmel, oi wees mir, and how to tell everyone that I'm too tired. Ich bin sehr müde. Oh, and other things that I can't say here. I hope to pass this on. And last, she loved telling me to work hard. No matter if I was in high school, in university, in law school, working as a lawyer, she would always tell me, work hard. But then, at the same time, she would end the phone calls by saying, but don't work too hard. And make sure to know to have fun and enjoy life. She always knew exactly what to say. One of the most important lessons that Baba taught us was how to love your family, and especially Zeda. Baba loved Zeda. Her and Zeda were the backbone of our family and had such a deep love for each other. I have a vivid memory in our basement in Calgary when I must have been 6 or 7 years old, and I forced Zeda to play hockey, which is a big deal because Zeda wasn't a big sports guy. And so Zeda wasn't the best hockey player, but I remember one time Zeda took a crazy shot that deflected off our couch, under our futon that used to be in their house, and scored on me. And Baba was so proud of Zeda, even though I was only 6 years old. And in that moment, when she was so full of pride, it just showed how much she loved him. And these memories, as well as all the many, many family pictures we took with them at bar mitzvahs and weddings, just showed how much she loved Zeda, and they would just look on with so much pride and be so happy. In our last few times visiting Baba, especially earlier this week, we saw just how many people she touched throughout her lives. Even when Baba wasn't doing very well and had trouble communicating, so many nurses, friends, and other patients would come and spend time in her presence and just say how happy they were to have known Baba and how special of a person she was. In our last few moments with her, this really taught us how important it was to surround yourself with great people. And while my sisters and siblings and dad and aunts were sitting around Baba in the last few days, it dawned on me also how much of an impact she had and how she created such a special and tight-knit family with the Rabers and Lipsons and Blocks. Not so many families have a connection like that. Baba, that's because of you and Zeda. You always brought us together, and I promise I'll carry this forward. And finally, one last story. When I was little and me and my dad would stay at Coralberry at their house, whenever we visited, I would always try to wake up extra early, and I would go to the kitchen and tell Baba that I'm going to wake up my dad. But she would try to stop me. She would say, "No, you have to let him sleep. It's too early." Every minute that she stopped me was a success for her. She would say, "No, you have to wait. He's too tired. He was up late last night." And I would beg and plead, but she would fight me as much as she could. And I probably still woke him up because I was being stubborn, but she tried. And at the time, I was so frustrated because I didn't understand why she wouldn't let me wake him up. But now, fast forward 25 years, I finally get it. When we were on Friday night, when me and my sisters were so lucky to fly in and spend the last few days with Baba, even though she was mostly sleeping, we got to say our goodbyes. And when I was alone with Baba, I really understood that she was just trying to protect my dad, her baby, the same way she did for Auntie Eileen and Auntie Avis and her whole family. It was her mission to protect them and make sure that they were happy, because that meant everything to her. So I promise her that I will carry on her life's mission in those moments, take care of my dad and my sisters and our family, as I know our whole family will, and carry on her mission for generations to come, that family is everything. Thank you.
Amen.
Thanks.
That's going to be hard to follow. My name is Earl Raber, Myrna and Monty Raber's youngest child, and it's my honor and privilege to talk a little bit about my mom today on behalf of my sister Avis Raber and her partner Rocky Pollock, and my sister Eileen Block and our whole family. First of all, thank you, Rabbi, for all your help during this difficult time. You had a special relationship with our mom, which you alluded to, and she valued your wisdom and so enjoyed your services, especially over this last year. And most importantly, you helped her through one of the most difficult times in her life. Thank you. Thank you to all of Myrna's close and extended family and friends who are here today, some flying in for just a few hours to be with her and us. And thank you to everyone for joining us virtually to pay your respects to our mom. I'm going to try and recount for you today a few of the many highlights of our mom's life, so that some of you who did not have a privilege to know her well will learn what an amazing lady she was, and for those of us who did know her well, to help celebrate her life. Myrna was born June 29th, 1936, here in Winnipeg, where she was raised and lived her entire life. She would have been 89 in just a few weeks. She was the matriarch of our family, with 10 grandchildren and their spouses and significant others, and 3 great-grandchildren. They were the apple of her eye. I'll repeat them. Mark and Sam, Daniel and Diana, Jonathan, Benjamin and Jesse, Joshua, Rachel and Eric, Ariel and Danielle, Matthew and Rachel, Megan and Ariel, and Mika, and great-grandchildren Ethan, Jacob, and Isaac. We are also blessed to have had her in our lives and our children's lives for such a long time. Myrna's parents, Fanny Appel and Marie Golden, raised their 2 young girls in a loving home, but they both had to work outside of the home very hard and very long hours to make ends meet. And after school, a young Myrna was often left alone or with her close older sister Ruthie until her parents both got home from work. They did not grow up with very much, and my mom recounted how her and Ruthie only had one nice jacket to share between the 2 of them, and so they had to take turns wearing it out on Saturday nights. My mom learned the value of hard work and not taking prosperity for granted at an early age, something that stayed with her her entire life, and that she imparted to her children and her grandchildren. Make sure you work hard, as Matthew said, was the advice she would always give. Growing up, Myrna loved to sleep over at her Baba Churna's, and she attended parrot school
and McRae Elementary Schools, and then Robert H. Smith's and Kelvin High Schools, and undertook a year of arts at university. Along the way, in high school, at a Jewish youth club, Habonim, she met the love of her life, a skinny bit of a savant with an odd sense of humor, the original Mr. Fix-It, whose mission was to Kan Olam, our dad, Monty. Or Mordecai. And the special courtship ensued. They were married June 9th, 1957, at an elegant affair at the Herzliya Synagogue on a rainy day, which was good luck, according to her Baba, with the aisle romantically lit by candlelight. They settled into their first home together at St. Anthony's Apartments on Main Street, in the North End, which had many humorous stories, which would not be appropriate to recount here. Shortly after, as newlyweds, Myrna and Monty moved to the hamlet of Chalk River, Ontario, where Monty worked at the Government Canada Nuclear Research Facility, doing secret work, while my mum learned to set up home before moving back to Winnipeg to start and raise a family. They eventually moved to a new home that they built on Coralberry Avenue, 83 Coralberry. In the brand spanking new development of Garden City in the North End, where they made new lifelong friendships and created a Yiddishkeit home. Our mother and father's was a traditional marriage. My dad worked hard outside of the home, and my mom supported him and worked hard inside the home. On top of this, she did volunteer work for the Jewish National Council of Women, including school audiology testing and play reading. Our parents completed each other. My mom did not know that there was more than one type of screwdriver. My dad had 10,000 different kinds of screwdrivers. Our dad was not quite sure where the pots and pans were in the house, and our mom cooked and froze meals for us if she ever went out of town and left us with dad for more than one day, fearing we might starve. At home, Myrna was a balabusta. She ran a tight and clean ship, and was supremely organized, always setting the breakfast table and sometimes even the dinner table the night before. Myrna took great pride in her family and in creating a warm and loving Yiddishkeit home for us, where all friends and family were welcome, where she hosted regular Friday Shabbat dinners with an open home with Baba's and Zedek's Golden and Raber, and where countless extended family birthdays, holidays, seders, simchas were celebrated with the Raber, Kettner, Weinberg, and Shapiro families, where all of our cousins and friends were always welcome, and where the fridge was always full and overflowing. Our mom was always there for us, in the background, working hard, literally sweating over a hot stove, her sleeves rolled up, her apron on. That's how we remember her. She was always there for us. But please do not let me suggest to you that my mom was always in the kitchen in her apron. Far from it. She paid very close attention to her and all of our appearances and presentation. She always dressed gracefully and elegantly like a queen. She loved getting her hair and nails done, especially if it was a chance to make an outing of it with her daughters and granddaughters. She was strict, but spoiled us, especially with our favorite recipes and birthday cakes, sometimes making separate meals for those of us who were picky eaters. Hi. Her apple cake was legendary. My dad made many home movies, and as we watched them, it struck us just how much fun we had and how much we enjoyed our family time together. This is what we remember and learned from my mom and dad. Family first. We always enjoyed many family vacations together, sometimes when we were younger, with her sister Ruth and brother-in-law Joe and their family. Myrna was also a good sport and agreed, against her better judgment, to let our dad live out his dream of long, adventurous family road trips and camping vacations across North America, which was not my mom's style. But she made the best of it. And along the way, she created what we called Myrna Raber's Restaurant Guide, basically the forerunner of today's Google's reviews, which she based on the number of cars in a parking lot restaurant. No cars, no stars. We each gave our mum some grief and worry over the years, which we apologize for. But you always stood by us, Mum. In fact, growing up, we were surrounded by so much love from our mom and dad that each of us, Avis, Eileen, and I, were each convinced that we were the one that was loved the most. It was kind of a competition. Of course, deep down, I think I know who it really was. Because my mom would often reassure me and say, "Kid, if we didn't love you so much, we would have killed you by now." Over the years, Mom and Dad were able to escape from us and enjoy some alone time together, traveling and making special trips to Israel and Europe, and trailblazing travel to the Orient, including Hong Kong, Japan, and even South America. In later years, our parents moved south to the south end, to their new Lanark home, closer to my sister and their Winnipeg grandchildren, and they reconnected with old friends and made new friends. They made regular trips out to Calgary to visit me and my children, sometimes just for a school performance or a play or a sports game. She didn't want to miss anything if it involved her grandchildren. At this stage, they also enjoyed some wintering in Palm Springs, where they made many new friends, and to our surprise, really seemed to enjoy something they'd never heard of before, called happy hour. Myrna enjoyed walking and coffee with the girls, cooking and baking, movies, book club, her Rady Center exercise classes, and opera and ballet, especially if it was with her daughters. Our mom was a social animal. She loved to meet new people and make new friends, and she loved to talk. Boy, did she love to talk. In 2 minutes, she could make friends with complete strangers. It was a gift. Everyone seemed to have an I just met Myrna story. Legend has it that her graduating high school yearbook caption, Myrna Golden's caption read, "Silence is golden, Myrna is not." Myrna was not shy. She was no shrinking violet. She suffered no fools. She spoke her mind, as we've heard. And she, with my dad, raised 3 independent children and fostered this independence in her grandchildren. She offered her wisdom and advice to us, and to many others, solicited and unsolicited, with varying responses. The last few years, especially following my dad's sudden and untimely passing, were very, very hard for my mom, forcing her to face huge, new, difficult challenges alone. But she persevered, and she made a new life for herself and new friends at the Shaftesbury and Simpkins Center. But she struggled sometimes, and her health and her memory deteriorated, and yet at other times she was sharp as a tack. Over time, one thing that never ever wavered was her love for our family, her children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. What seemed to bother her the very most with her decline was that she realized she was having more and more trouble remembering her grandchildren's birthdays. Her grandchildren's birthdays. That was what mattered most to her. Her children and grandchildren were always top of mind for her. She took great pride and interest in all their activities and achievements. I could try and list them here, but I would miss something. Our mom worried about our worries. She celebrated our triumphs, big and small. I do not know how to stress this enough. And I have witnesses to this. But when a grandchild or grandchild walked into her room to visit her, no matter how she was struggling or feeling, that second, she literally lit up when she saw them laughing and smiling. It was magical. It was something to behold. Myrna was dedicated to her family, her parents, her in-laws, her husband, her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. She was proud and fiercely protective of family. We are the luckiest family in the whole world. To have had you, Mom, and Dad as our parents, role models, life mentors, cheering squad, and protectors. Myrna's passing is so very devastating for us. But Mom, we're glad you're not suffering anymore. And we're happy that you're reunited. With the love of your life, your partner for almost 65 years of marriage, your Montel. We are comforted as we realize how very blessed we have been to have you in our lives and our children's lives for so long. Myrna Raber had a life well lived and loved. She had a wonderful smile and laugh. She taught us so very much about the importance of Yiddishkeit, community, and family. And looking around today at all those she touched is a testament to the importance of her teaching, the force of her character, and the depth and power of her love, which we will always cherish and never ever forget. Love you, Mom.
Thank you, Earl. Thank you, Matthew. Your eulogies were tremendous. Heartfelt, beautiful. We're fortunate to be able to hear them. In a moment, we'll chant the El Malei Rachamim, the traditional Jewish memorial prayer. We'll recite the Mourner's Kaddish. We'll have a chance to complete the service with the familiar ritual of shoveling earth into the gravesite. The family will lead us, but all who are here are invited to participate. We'll speak more about that in a moment. I encourage all family members, friends, to continue to reach out to Avis, to Eileen, to Earl, to the grandkids, with your text messages, your phone calls, your emails, your words of support to help them through this difficult time, as I know you already have. Speaking of that, following the service, there will be a meal of consolation at Temple Shalom, 1077 Grant Avenue. You can take as long as you need here, of course, but then head there for a meal where stories about Myrna will continue to be shared and the comforting of the family will begin. The family will be sitting Shiva at Avis's home, 510 Bauer Boulevard, tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 to 9, all 4 evenings, Monday through Thursday, and they will have davening prayers at 7:30. We now turn to the El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina B'malot Kedoshim Uteorim Kizoar Arakia Mazhirim Enishmat Malka Bad Mordechai Ufegabela Shelcha Leolama Vegan, Eidente Menuchata Nabal Harachamim Hastirea Beseiter Kedafecha Leolamim Utzror Bitzror Achaim Enishmata Adonai Nachalata V'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, Grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure to the soul of Myrna Raber, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that she find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us together say, Amen. We'll turn to the words of the mourner's Kaddish, and then to the familiar ritual of shoveling earth. Again, the family will lead us, but all who are here are invited to participate, because this is an extension of that mitzvah we mentioned at the beginning, the ultimate form of respect in Jewish tradition. The idea of accompanying a loved one to her final resting place and joining together to bury her with our own hands. Kind, no sorrowful hands, hands that held her hands. There are different rituals and different customs in Jewish cemeteries around the world. Most people pour 3 shovelfuls of earth. Some people use the front of the shovel, some people use the back. Some people turn the shovel midway. Some people, when they're finished, will return the shovel to the earth as if reluctant to pass on the burden to the next person. Others will pass the shovel. I always encourage people to embrace the custom with which they are familiar. Our goal is always to infuse as much meaning into these time-honored rituals as possible. There are multiple shovels. I'll move out of the way after the service and people can line up on both sides after the immediate family leads us. If anyone wants to participate but is unsure about maneuvering and using a large shovel, you may not be able to see, but just in front of me here there is a pail, a small pail with a small shovel and dirt inside it, and you can complete the mitzvah as well. So feel free to come up and use the shovel and the pail to my left. Earlier in the service, we offer the words of Job, who is the epitome of suffering in Jewish tradition, and we offer those words again now in conclusion. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yishem, Adonai Mevorach. God has given, God has taken, blessed be the name of God. We are here today, and going forward we will mark that Myrna Raber's life has been and will continue to endure as a blessing, and that her essence will never leave the hearts and souls she touched throughout her life. Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabah. Be'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabah mivorach le'olam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates peace and harmony on high bring peace and harmony to us, to all Israel, to all humanity, as again together we say, Amen. And to the family we offer these words of tradition. Hamakom yinachem etchem, betosh sha'ar avelei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May you be comforted and consoled. May God comfort and console you among all those who are or who have ever been in mourning in our community. Thank you to the family for the honor of being here today, and thank you to everyone who has tuned in and also who has been here with their presence. I invite the family to come forward and to lead us. Thank you again, everyone.